Have you noticed after years of being blamed for absolutely everything, you are the only person in your family actually doing any work on yourself? The only one healing, the only one setting boundaries, and the only one breaking the cycle. And it just so happens that the scapegoat is actually the strongest of all. Hey, I'm Angela, and if you were the family scapegoat, I have got some news for you. You are not the weak one. You are the cycle breaker. And today we're talking about how to reclaim your power and step into the life that you were always meant to live. In this video, we're going to be covering why scapegoats were always the strongest member of the family, how to shift from being the problem to being empowered, the subconscious beliefs that make you feel stuck even after going no contact, how to rewire your mind to stop playing small and fully owning your worth. And we might be adding some humour, because if you've survived being the family's emotional punch bag, you deserve some laughter with your healing. So here's the thing, being the family scapegoat wasn't about you, it was about control. They blamed you so they didn't have to look at themselves. They called you too much, probably, because you refused to be numb. And they isolated you so that you wouldn't see the truth. But now you see everything, and this is where your power begins. And the real danger for you isn't them anymore, it's the old programming that's still running in your mind. So if you still feel guilty for setting boundaries, that's programming. If you still doubt yourself, even though you know in your heart of hearts that you're right, that's programming. If you still shrink yourself because you fear rejection inside, that's also programming. But here's the truth, you're not the same person that they raised, and you don't have to play by their rules anymore. So even though you've started healing, you might feel still stuck in self-doubt, guilt, or just fear of what they think. That's because your brain was trained to associate danger with speaking up. Your nervous system was wired to expect rejection, and your subconscious still believes you need permission to take up space. So basically, your body is still reacting to the past, even though it's no longer your reality. But guess what? You really don't have to live like that anymore. So what can you do? You can stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. First, let me just get this really clear. They do not want to understand you. They don't hear you because they refuse to. They dismiss your truth because it threatens their reality. And they call you dramatic because accepting the truth would mean taking responsibility. So I want you to stop looking for validation in the places that you're not going to get it. And here's a brand new rule for you. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your healing. But even though you know your family dynamic was really toxic, your subconscious might still crave their approval. And that's possibly why you feel guilty choosing yourself. Wonder if you're being too harsh when you've set boundaries and you still have that tiny little nagging voice saying maybe one day they'll see my worth. And this is where you can use things like rewiring your subconscious with hypnotherapy, reprogram those beliefs at the subconscious level so that your brain finally starts to understand. You don't need their approval to be worthy. Choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's absolutely necessary. And your worth just isn't up for debate. So here's a challenge. Start showing up as the version of you that they tried to suppress. Speak your truth without fear. Take up space without guilt. Go after everything that they said you couldn't have. Because the best revenge isn't proving them wrong, it's living fully, freely and unapologetically. And I know that when you start reclaiming your power like this, it really does feel weird at first. One day you're dishing out boundaries like they're nothing, and the next day you're just spiraling because somebody called you difficult. But guess what? The guilt does fade, the power stays, and the freedom, that lasts forever. So if this makes sense to you, if this hits home, which I hope it does, and I hope it explains some of the feelings that you might be going through, let me know in the comments, because we're done living small. And if you're ready to reprogram your subconscious mind and step fully into your power, then let's talk. Hypnotherapy isn't magic, don't get me wrong, but it's the closest thing we've got. And hit subscribe for some more real talk on healing, breaking cycles, and finally living for you. Thanks ever so much for watching.